Hello, everyone. This is Omar from the third rail. Thank you, everybody. It's glad to be back. I'm feeling great, feeling happy, feeling stoked, like they say. I'm feeling stoked. And that's what people. Anyway, another day, another week. All shit is. Everything is hectic. Everything is breaking loose. This October 7th incident has created a lot of issues here. Let me just back up a little bit here because I think I'm too much inside the camera here. I don't want to scare you all with my good looks. Anyway, I am glad to be here. Please stay here with me. I want to talk to you first before we start the show. We're going to talk about Piers Morgan. Is he a racist or he's just a piece of shit Zionist appeaser? You know, sometimes there's a big difference. Sometimes we think people are racist, but they're really not. They're just looking out for their career. You know, they don't want to upset the Zionist machine. They don't want to upset the Zionist machine. Oh, well, they think they're gonna lose their jobs, man. Let's be here. Let's be honest. Yeah. Okay, hold on. Let me fix this a little bit. I think I'm just too much, man. Let me back up a little. Yeah, back up. Back up, Omar. Back up. Yeah, this one looks a little better, right? Anyway, I am glad to be here. I hope you guys are supporting the channel. Listen, guys, we got to have a conversation here. Our brothers all over the world, from India to Indonesia to Brazil to Egypt. Guys, you got to support this channel, man. I've been on this channel for a whole year, and I'm trying to get you acquainted with this channel, man. I'm trying to get my American brothers and sisters. Guys, you got to help me out here. I'm looking bad. Everybody's making fun of Omar. Omar, you're a piece of shit. You don't have nobody. Nobody watches you no more because you're a boring son of a gun. I am not boring. I am just, sometimes when I see myself in the camera, I just freeze. I'm like, you should see when I don't have the camera off, I'm funny. I'm silly. I think a lot of jokes. The reason I put these glasses on is because I'm shy, so I hide behind the glasses. I used to do it without, and anyway. So Congress. Let's start with the bill with Aipac and all that shit, and the Israeli lobby and what's going on in the United States is very, very disgusting. How the Israeli lobby or the Jewish lobby has overtaken the United States government. We're gonna show you some stuff here and things. But this week they passed a bill. They passed a bill in Congress. You cannot criticize Israel. They passed a bill. It's called the antisemitism bill. The problem is there's nothing inside the bill. They don't tell you what's inside the bill. They just pass the bill. That's empty. And they're going to give it to a Jewish organization just to fill up anything they think is anti-Semitism. And the worst thing they did is, I think they hurt Jews more than they helped them. I'm going to tell you why. The whole idea that Israel have dismantled themselves from the mainstream society because they consider white, they're part of the white society. They're white, and all of a sudden, instead of being mainstream, they work so hard for 100 years. Now they have the Jews have dislodged themselves from the mainstream. Now they want to be called Semites. So this bill, what it does, it put them in a special category, like the LGBTQ, like like the fish extension list. So they put themselves in a special category instead of being just American or American Jews or white Americans. Now Jews are considered Semitic people, and they are not part of the mainstream group. I mean, they did a disservice to themselves. And at the same time, I'm going to be honest with you, I think that's what Zionists want to do. Zionism needs to get people to go to live in Israel. So what they do, they'll do everything in their power to isolate Jews in certain countries, make them look bad, create a lot of issues with the local population that they live in and they're part of, and create this hatred, and they create this fear. All of a sudden, it's not safe no more. Like what they did with the college students. Those college students, most of them were Jews, man. All of a sudden, well, all of a sudden it's anti-Semitism. The Jews are in danger. The Jewish students were in danger, and we found out the people who were violent were the Jewish anti-peace protests. The Jews were protesting for peace. They were inside the compartment with other fellow students, but still the narrative, the media, the politicians, and the political elites, the people with money, they drove a narrative that if you protest against Israel, you hate Jews and you want to hurt Jews. If you say Israel is killing people in Palestine and it is committing a genocide in Palestine, all of a sudden, the Jews, anti-Semitism is on the rise. It is horrendous. And they have no proof that there is any anti-Semitism in the United States. As a matter of fact, Jews in the United States they enjoy incredible success. They only are projected at 2.2% of the population. You see Jews in power. The Department what's that? Homeland Security, led by a Jewish American. The Secretary of State is just Jewish American. The Director of National Intelligence, she's responsible for all the United States, is an American Jew. You see the deputy of the CIA is an American Jew. They are very successful in the United States. And to create this bullshit, they are people hate them. They want to hurt. No, they don't. Our issue is with the Zionists and Zionism. Zionism is a racist doctrine. It is based on the idea of replacing and dispossession of native people from Palestine. These people came from Europe. A crime was committed against them in Europe, wherever, in Germany, and they said 6 million were killed. These days, I know people. I don't want to lose my channel, but I see so much lies and how they lie so fucking crazy out of Israel. I'm deciding that I don't believe anything that happened in World War II. Yeah, people were killed and they were murdered, but the whole idea, the crime took fucking place in Germany. Why are the Palestinians paying for it? And when you go look at Israel, you see the leadership. They're all from Poland, from Lithuania, from Ukraine. They're not even the Arab Jews. Arab Jews have no power in Israel. Arab Jews who are actually real Israelis who belong to that land or belong to that region, they have no power at all. There's a lot of fucking racism against them in Israel. Believe it or not. Where's the power? When the last time you saw an Arab, Jewish Arab or Iranian, an Arab Jew or an Iranian Jew was the prime minister of Israel? Nothing. So you saw what they did to the students. They beat them up. They arrested them. Anyway, let's start first with the influence. They have an organization called Aipac. Aipac spends more than $100 million to $200 million to elect people in the United States. Now, the problem is, it is not registered as a foreign lobby. It's not registered as a foreign lobbying entity. So we cannot call it Israeli because it's not registered as it is a Jewish organization. Aipac is Jewish. Aipac is a Jewish organization that is pimping for Israel. Very close. Let's look at the money that is given before we start. Every day or every time I do a live stream, I'm going to give you just one state. Then we're going to go every day, one state at a time. Ready? Let's share. All right? It is wonderful. It is unbelievable. Nope, that's not it. Yep, this is it. All right, here we go. See it? All right. Today, we're going to start with the first state. The first state is in the United States. Let's see, the House, right? We're going to go to what? We're going to go to Alabama. This is Alabama. These congressmen and congresswomen are all paid by the Jewish lobby called Aipac. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7, right? Is this Alabama? Yeah, 7. How many congressmen are from Alabama in Congress? Let me look. Siri, can you tell me, hold on, how many congressional seats are in Alabama in the U.S. Congress? Alabama, Alabama. There are 7 congressmen and congresswomen from Alabama, and all of them are getting money. Well, Alaska, we don't got to do it tomorrow or whatever. It only has one person, and she's getting money. Now, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, Alabama has only 7 congressional representation in the United States Congress, and every single one of them is getting money from Aipac. Now, if that's not fucking corruption, what is corruption in the United States? Look at the money. This guy, how much he got? 78,000. They have their hands in every pocket. 18,000. I have $1 million for this guy, Mark Rogers. He maybe he has an important seat in Congress. Robert Edrahalt, lobbying total 148,000. This is just this year, right? Dal Strong, 50,000. Gary Palmer, $100,850. And the only black congressional individual from Alabama, they gave her money too. They gave her 90,000. Now, the question you have to ask yourself, why are we okay with such behavior? Why are we okay that such behavior is allowed? Why? Imagine if a Palestinian group gave so much money. I'm talking about, look, ladies and gentlemen, look, this is unbelievable. This is unbelievable. Look, 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 look. This is disgusting. There should be a law against this. Look. I could stay here all day. I'm going state by state here. Yeah. Yeah. Georgia. I'm only on the letter G. There's more. There's more. Oh, man. And soon the Aipac, Illinois. And this is the, what do you call these guys? The Israeli lobby in the U.S. House. It's too much money. It's fucking too much money. Israel got the shit down pat. So let's get to watch some videos. First, I'm going to introduce you to a video. You want to go over the headlines first? Let's go to the headlines before we start our show. It's going to be an hour and a half show until the Maghrib prayer, inshallah. Let's look at the headlines, and we're going to be all right. Today is Sunday, so there's not a lot of headlines today, but we're going to just look at the headlines. You saw that today we did Alabama, right? Tomorrow, whatever, we're going to do the other states. Unbelievable. I don't know. All right, let's go. Let's watch. Let's read the headlines, then we're going to go to our videos and show you the racism and prejudice of Piers Morgan, who's a fucking idiot, who's a loser. He's been fired from every job he had. And the problem with people like him and Don Lemon and Chris Cuomo, they have this hope they're going to go back to legacy media. They got fired, so they can't not express their real feelings as independent creators. They're still sticking to that dream. Listen, I don't know. Maybe I'm going to get a job. All right, let's go with this. Share. All right, let's start with the. Let me see if I'm on TV. Hold on. Give me a second, okay, brothers and sisters. All right. All right. Yeah. Where is it? What am I doing here? Yeah. Oh, baby, baby. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're on. All right, let's look at the headline. Ready? You guys see me, right? Am I being okay? First headline: Israel gives Hamas 1 week to accept hostage deal. The hostage deal is they want to release all the hostages, but they want to go into Rafah and continue killing Palestinian men and women. So I don't know what kind of deal they're going to have or what kind of thing. Widespread belief among U.S. officials that Israel can't beat Hamas. Israel tells U.S. it will target Palestinian authorities if ISIS issues warrant. So what Israel is saying that, well, if we get arrested for killing men and women and children, we're going to arrest the Palestinian Authority, who have no real power. They're just deputies for us, who are more just they just work for us in the West Bank. Military chief: Israel prepares for an offensive against Lebanon. Yeah, go ahead, motherfuckers. Hey, they're gonna fuck you up over there. Biden says protests haven't made him reconsider. This guy is fucking evil. This is the guy who says, "Oh, my son died, and he had cancer." And I'm gonna talk like that. Fuck him. If he doesn't care about other people's kids and children dying, who fucking cares? Every time he lies to us about how he is sad and that how there's a hole deep in his chest. Fucking guy, he looks Chinese. He's getting so old. His face is swollen. He looks Chinese. He's starting to look Asian, man. All right. Biden says protests haven't made him reconsider. He's a Zionist all the way. This is the problem. I find myself in a quandary, like Piers Morgan says, that why aren't you looking at the facts on the ground? I mean, what good is it that if more children die? I mean, what is the objectives of the United States inside? I mean, that's shameful, man. I mean, this president is a fucking war criminal. Nobody's going to vote for him. And we're going to get the other idiot. He's worst. Every president in the United States is owned by the Israeli lobby or the Jewish lobby. Every single one of them. You understand? Riot police clear pro-Palestinian encampment at USLA. In Tel Aviv, tens of thousands of Israelis are protesting against the government getting beat up by the police. U.S. admits it killed Syrian civilians in May 2023. Yeah, you've been killed. The United States, let me see this. I think I remember this when they said they made a mistake. Here you go. Let's read this. The U.S. acknowledges that on Thursday that its forces killed a civilian, it's like 120, drone strike in northern West Syria, walking back its initial claim that it killed an Al-Qaeda leader. They lied. Oh, we killed an Al-Qaeda leader. You've been killing. The United States, at the behest of Israel, has been killing Arabs or Muslims since 1990. Remember the war against Iraq when Saddam went into Kuwait and the United States went, and then they put an embargo against Iraq. 600 Iraqi children died because of the embargo from 1990 to 2003. That's according to the United Nations. We're not making shit up over here. Okay. Remember. Okay. I mean, 2003, the war, the war against Iraq, under the guise of weapons of mass destructions, where it was led by newcon Jews and Zionist newcon Jews or Zionist Jews in the U.S. government, who tricked the United States into going to war against Iraq, that had no problem with the United States. And Iran, that they had a problem with, they didn't go there to fight the Iranians, you understand? And now they destroyed the whole country. They left the country now with ISIS, with all these militias, because they dismantled the running government of another country under the pretext of a lie. That's war crimes, but it's okay. If we do it, it's not a war crime. If they do it, it's a fucking war crime. You understand? Okay. Macron still won't rule out troops. This fucking guy is a fucking idiot. Macron of France, he wants to send French troops into Ukraine. Now, Ukraine is losing the war. Now, France is part of NATO. And if you put in French troops, they're going to get wiped out. And then what happens? We help them. Then we're going to go into World War III because of this fucking idiot. Listen, the idea is I'm not pro-Russia or anything like that, but Russia has been warning the West since 2008. They say, "Niet, Ukraine is not going to be part of NATO because it's right next to us, and it's going to be, and it's a danger to our national security. Like the United States has national security issues, we have it too. Niata, Ukraine will not be part of the European Union. Ukraine will stay neutral. It's not. It's just a normal country. It has no alliances with any other country, and everything will be all right." But still, we pushed it and pushed it and pushed it. 2014, they took Crimea. Then 2023, right? When Putin massed all those military outside of Ukraine, 150,000 troops, there was a deal to be made. He sent a letter of demands to the United States, of security demands. Like, you know who said no? Antonio Blinken, Secretary of State, who went to Israel after October 7 and said, "I have come to you as a Jew." He don't say that. You should have come to you as Secretary of State of the United States of America. This guy's a fucking idiot. He's the one who started he's a newcon. So what he did is he egged on Biden, who's fucking half asleep, into refusing to come to a deal with what's his name, with Putin. First of all, Putin only has Crimea. Now Putin has took all these fucking and they taking every day. And the more the war continues, the more they take more. Now, if France wants to send weapons, good luck. We saw how the French fight. They're not good fighters. Germany took France in 24 hours in World War II. So don't fuck around. Go ahead, Macron. Go on your own. As resistance advanced, Ukraine struggles to build defensive line. You see? Russia is winning the war in Ukraine. It's over. The war is over, man. The war is over in Ukraine. Russia won the war. That's it. Why are we, she was too smart. I can't read this shit. Let me see. Let me make it bigger. Let's read it together, all right? I might jumping from place to place. Because sometimes I'm very, there you go. Ready? You're going to read a little bit in the beginning, right? Take it easy. Russian forces are advancing in several places across the 600-mile front line in Ukraine. Straining Kyiv's ability to build rear fortification. Some of the Ukrainian military's fault the country's leadership for not building stronger second and third line defenses last year while Russia's troops were stalled. According to a dozen Ukrainian soldiers, government officials, and construction company directors we spoke. I don't know what the fuck that means. Who gives a fuck about it? Let's go back. So the whole idea, remember when the Russians were losing the war, they were digging a lot of trenches, and it was very hard, okay? New York Times, U.S. covered missile launch could cost China's Z. I don't know his name. New York Times, U.S. covered missile launchers could oust China's Xi. Oh, okay. U.S. Philippine forces fire rockets toward the South China Sea. Are they trying to start a war with China? What the fuck is going on with the United States? Well, I mean, do we need more wars? I mean, the problem with us in the United States is we okay. Oh, this is good. The problem with us in the United States is we built China. We're the people who built China. In the 1990s, China was just these raggedy cities, old farmers. The economy was all fucked up. We invested so much money because we were greedy, because people working for $1 an hour or 50 cents an hour to make a phone like this and come and sell it for $1,000 in the United States. And the Chinese are very smart. Not only did they use that opportunity to build their economy, they uplifted 300 million Chinese from poverty. And China economy moved from farmland to factories. They make anything. You can spit in the air, they're gonna make spit for you. So the whole idea now, we created this big monster. Now we gotta fight with it. So what I'm saying is that all these corporations that made money from China, they should give it back to the American people, and then we'll be able to fight this war. There's something is wrong here. Why are we in China, the South? I mean, Taiwan. Taiwan is fucking Chinese. Give it back to the Chinese. Let them go back. U.S. intelligence chief. The Houthis attack will continue for some time. This is my country. It's fucking crazy, the Houthis. Russian troops enter a U.S. base in Niger. That's it. The United States is losing Africa. Instead of asserting its power wherever it is, it's looking for a fight with Russia and China. I don't understand what's going on, man. There's some scary stuff. Anyway, let's get back to us. Let's watch these videos. Wait, what the hell? All right. Come on. All right. First of all, this is him. This is Pierre Morgan's show last week with we're gonna watch the whole show. It's about 30 minutes.
Police or the protesters who've crossed it. Well,
now the problem with Piers Morgan is, since day one, every time a Muslim or somebody who wants to defend the Palestinian against the genocide, will you condemn October 7th? Will you condemn Hamas? Every time, will you condemn? Will you condemn? Will you condemn? Fuck you. I didn't come in the show to condemn anybody. I'm coming here to debate. Those people are stupid. I would say, no, I'm not going to condemn nobody. I'm not here to condemn nobody. I'm not a government. I'm not an organization. I'm here to debate. I'm here to tell you that Palestinians are being killed, 30, 40,000, but he doesn't give a fuck. People like him lost their job in the mainstream media, so they always have this hope that they'll be back. So they don't want to, burn any bridges with the establishment, which is pro-Israel. As you know, I mean, let's not lie to each other. Most of the media in the United States is fucking pro-Israel. Most of the journalists are fucking American Jews, young suburban Jews who went to school, became journalists. Everybody say, oh, of course they're going to be biased. I'll be biased. All right, let's see what he's got to say. Let's watch his show and let's go. Let's go to the videotape.
In a moment, we'll debate all this with an all-star panel. But first, joining me now is pro-Palestinian activist Nadine Kazwani, who organised protests outside Columbia and City University in New York last night. Okay, Nadine, welcome back to Uncensored. You were there last night. There's a current ban on you and others from Columbia, dated from last week, saying that you are considered persona non grata on all Columbia University-owned property due to alarming and concerning behaviour. So why were you back there?
She was not there.
I wasn't inside the gates of Columbia. I was outside of Columbia. And, I'm able to protest outside of Columbia in support of the students as a New Yorker, just like New Yorkers have been consistently showing outside of the gates of Columbia in support of the students, even before they launched the Gaza Solidarity encampment. My organization, Within Our Lifetime, mobilized in support of Columbia students from Jewish Voice for Peace and from Students for Justice in Palestine, who were both suspended months ago. And, we're just continuing that tradition, that support from the community to the students. So we had a protest that started at NYU, went to the New School, made a stop at FIT, the Fashion Institute of Technology. We made our way over to Columbia by train, and then ended at CUNY. So just showing solidarity to all of the encampments.
But it's not quite as straightforward as just showing solidarity. Mobs inside and outside the campus have been chanting.
Okay, you see how he's describing the student as a mob. You see, you have to listen to the language that Piers Morgan used when he describes the students who are protesting or Palestinians. He uses a derogatory word as mob. He just called them a mob right away. They're not a mob. They were just sitting there. They didn't do nothing. Okay, go ahead. He already called them a mob.
Intifada, and anyone who knows the history of the conflict between Palestine and Israel knows what intifada means. It means a violent uprising.
Now, if anybody's listening, intifada means to struggle, to fight back, to explode like the whole society explodes into protest, demonstration. The Jewish ghetto uprising is called intifada. When you read when you read in the museum, the Museum of the Holocaust, in Arabic, they use the word intifada to describe the Polish ghetto uprising. But the whole idea that Western media looks for words to demonize you. So they demonize these words. So when you come to speak, it's a bad word. It's a dangerous word. It's an ugly word. So these words, they demonize, they're regular words. You understand? I'm going to show you later on in another video about the word intifada. It was Morgan when Mahdi Hassan explains what it means, and he still wants to use that because these are talking points they get in the email. We have to make the word intifada very bad. You have to make it bad. We have to make the students anti-Semites, mob, crazy. Let's go.
They've been chanting from the river to the sea, which of course involves the eradication of Israel. We've seen Jewish students being harassed by the mob. We've seen Jewish professors not being allowed in to teach because of fears for their safety. We've seen others being held in effective captivity following the violent breaking in of an historic building.
Okay. You see how he's a fucking piece of shit, how he's lying? First of all, no professors were in captivity. First of all, no professors were not allowed because they're outside. They're in the park. How they not allowed people to go into a building? I'm from New York City. I know where the university is. It's on 116th Street. You take the one train right to there. I've been there all my life. I have drove from there. So the whole idea is, you see how he's describing the student as some fucking as terrorists. They harass Jewish students. Actually, the Jewish students were harassing them. Now, there's two different Jewish students. There are Jewish students who are protesting with the protesters, who are Jews with conscience, who are against the Zionism and the Zionist behavior in Israel, and they don't want them to use Judaism and Jews or use their name to create a genocide. There is no harassment. These people are inside tents. How are they going to harass people? But I want to show you the language. You see how he's framing it already? This is one dangerous motherfucker right here. All right.
Building. All of this, a lot of it is criminal, from trespass to vandalism to actually potentially kidnapping people if you're not letting them out when you break in.
Nobody got kidnapped. Who kidnapped who? Why you people lie? Why does the media always lie? Why? What the fuck? You afraid of the fucking Israeli lobby? What they gonna do? Let us know. Maybe I could get scared. Holy shit.
How do you
no kidnappings have happened.
Well, hang on. I'm just saying potentially it could be.
Oh, it's potentially could be. You see, now he changed it. When she said no kidnapping has happened there, Piers.
Categorizes that. So my question for you is, why would you support all this? Why do you support chanting about a violent uprising? Why are Jewish students being harassed in this manner? Why would you support the wanton vandalism involved in smashing into an historic building?
So I'm going to try to answer this in the order of everything you said. First of all, intifada means shaking off in Arabic or uprising. It's not just used in the Palestinian context, but against people fighting against oppression everywhere. And the City University of New York, where I was a student in undergrad and for law school, actually investigated SJP for the use of the word intifada in previous years. They released a report in 2016 that is public right now. You can find it online that clarifies that intifada is not an anti-Semitic
There have been two
slur, that it
intifadas. Hang on,
means
there have been
shaking
two
off of
intifadas. The
oppression.
first and second intifada in the conflict in the last 30 years have been these two infamous intifadas, which led to the deaths of many.
They're not infamous. If an uprising for self-determination and to liberate your land from occupation, it's like a religion. You have to do it. It's an obligation for you to do it. We did it to the British, right? Our revolution was must have been nasty. But
Many people on both sides. Both were violent uprisings. So when people chant about, when you have a pro-Palestinian, when a pro-Palestinian group
it started
chants,
as boycotts.
Hang on.
It started as strikes. Are you going to let me respond?
Yeah, I'm
Because
gonna
you actually made
clarify.
a lot of accusations.
Well,
and I'm going to try to respond to all of them in order.
Okay, well, are you
So
going
not going back and forth.
Are you
going to
try and deny that either intifada was violent?
I believe that the Israeli colonizers, the Zionists, made it violent by attacking peaceful protests, just like we saw the NYPD attack protesters at CUNY and at Columbia that made the situation that wasn't previously violent.
And all the acts of terrorism perpetrated by pro-Palestinians against Israelis during the two intifadas, what do you think of those?
I'm not here to debate the first and the second intifada with you. I've told you the definition of the word. You can
But that
leave it
is
at
why
that
when
and allow me to
when
address the other things that you brought on.
You're being disingenuous. When pro-Palestinian groups outside of New York University chant about intifada, they.
Okay, so he is debating the word, and he's going back 20, 30 years. And the first intifada was non-violent. And you know the Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin, he's dead. He ordered the Israeli army to break the arms of children. They did. Who was throwing rocks at them. The second intifada was violence, but most of the death was from the Palestinians. 1,000 Palestinians died. Now the whole issue is he has the word with the word intifada, which means it's a struggle. It's an Arabic language. Okay, so let's say the word revolution. Is that a bad word? A lot of people get killed when you have a revolution, right? So let's say when somebody in corporate America say, "Well, AI is a revolutionary moment in our history." Woo! Is that nasty? He's talking about AI. We are revolutionizing the car industry. Is that a bad word? You understand what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen here? These people are fucking animals, man. They are criminals, man. They hate the Palestinian with passion. I mean, the Palestinians are doing all the dying and they still are the criminals.
Know what they're doing, and Jewish people know what they're doing. They are invoking the first and second intifada,
I don't know what
which
you say they're doing,
which
because
involved
every
a lot of violence and a lot of terrorism.
has been chanting intifada for decades. So this, and let's go back. Let's go to the second phrase you say, from the river to the sea.
Yeah.
Now they want to make a problem with that. Any chant that we say, there's this accusation of anti-Semitism because every single pro-Palestinian activist has been accused of anti-Semitism as a way to silence them. Even though you mentioned Jewish students before, so many of these Jewish students are standing with us, are with the protests inside and outside.
Yeah, and many are
they
not,
are
and many are being
like
harassed.
I said, Jewish Voice for Peace was suspended by Columbia.
Many Jewish students are not, and they're being harassed, and we're seeing the videos of them being harassed. They're being threatened. They're being banned from going in. Banned from going in to be taught.
They've been since October 7th.
But you're not in Gaza doing this. You're doing it in the middle of New York.
What does this have to do with being in Gaza? We're here as New Yorkers, as Arabs, Muslims, and Palestinians, and we're harassed daily, constantly, not just since October 7th, but for as long as we have lived here. And, that's constantly ignored. But when Palestinian students are finally speaking up against the slaughter of their people in Gaza and all over Palestine, it becomes a problem. Now they want to, pay attention to these things. I think every Palestinian organization, including my own, has made it clear that we stand against anti-Semitism and that these smears of anti-Semitism against pro-Palestinian activists are a long-held tradition by the Zionist lobby, by Zionist organizations, as an attempt to discredit people.
If protesters get violent, is that acceptable resistance to the oppression?
There is no violence.
I haven't seen any violence happening at protests, so I don't even know why this is a question. Nobody is advocating for violent protests, and nobody is saying
would it be
that's
justified?
acceptable, including myself.
Would it be justified?
I just answered that. You're just repeating the same question. I feel like you're being disingenuous.
Well, you didn't answer whether
when I've already made this
You didn't
clear.
answer if it would be justified.
I just said it's not acceptable. How could it be justified?
Right. So
The only violence that we see being unleashed, which is completely unacceptable, is by the NYPD, who have maced protesters. They maced people at NYU, which I saw with my own eyes.
They
maced
actually
people
went
at
and
CUNY
threw out.
last
hang
night.
on.
They whipped out their batons. They
Right.
beat people until they bled. People got punched in the face. They were bleeding from their teeth. You know, this is the violence that's completely unacceptable.
That's because
at protests, and we're seeing it
That's because
go
a
into the
howling
NYPD.
violent mob chanting Intifada broke in.
You see how this motherfucker, it's not a mob. You see how, we Arabs and Muslims in America, we have been dealing with this for 50, 60 years. If you go to watch a movie, the Arab guy is a terrorist. If you go any place, they demonize the Palestinian, they demonize our religion, they put this fear of Muslims, the Islamic extremists. They do everything they can to destroy our image within our community, within our ecosystem of American citizens. We've been trying so hard, and we finally made it, thank God. I know it came on a bad way, but the United States has awakened. The Israeli and Jewish lobbies and Israeli and Jewish media, it's Jewish media, fuck it, I'm going to say it like it is. The United States media is influenced by Jewish Americans and Jewish billionaires. And they even threatened Colombia, like Robert Kraft, the owner of the Patriot. He threatened Columbia University. He's not going to give them money because the students are protesting for the people in Gaza. Look at the fucking chutzpah, I'm going to say it in the language, that the idea of thinking. So he refuses to hear her. He just brings her in. The only reason he brings her in is because she wears a hijab, and he gets to say whatever he wants and score points. Listen, guys, you see, I did good today. I was calling them a mob. I called them terrorists. As I said, the Intifada was a dirty word. Look what I'm doing. Look, I'm doing this for you. He's not listening to her. He didn't bring her here to listen to her opinion. He never thought. Do you think he brought that girl in to listen to her opinion? He just brought her there as a prop so he could spit. He could have diarrhea from his fucking mouth the whole time. That's all he did. Good.
Into an historic building on a private property. It's not their property. They committed acts of vandalism, they committed acts of trespass. They were holding people against their will. They've been threatening and harassing Jewish students. I'm sorry, that's not a peaceful protest.
He has said the same thing about 4 times. What? It's been like 10 minutes. He has said the same thing 4 times.
Right, these
The
people
that
are
were
not
being held
protesting
against their
peacefully.
will were Columbia students forced to stay inside the journalism school. The NYPD literally poked their head in an open door and told the CUNY journalism students that if they left that building, they would be arrested. Columbia admin came to say that they should have the right to report, that they can't limit the freedom of speech, the freedom of the press. And the NYPD actually threatened Columbia administration. So the only people who were being held against their will were the Columbia students by the NYPD, and other students who were not part of the journalism school, part of the other schools or in their dorms, were also ordered to shelter in place by the Columbia administration. So everything you brought up, from the violence to people being held against their will, this is being perpetuated by the people in positions of power, by the administrations of these universities, and by the police department, who is being used to crush peaceful protests, who is being used to show up in riot gear and turn an otherwise peaceful situation into a riot. Never forget that in 1968, 150 protesters occupied the same exact hall that the students of Columbia were occupying as of last night and forced to come out of, Hamilton Hall, which they renamed Hinds Hall in honor of the 5-year-old Palestinian girl who was killed, who had to sit in a car with her family members for hours, while they decayed, while they rotted after being killed by the Israeli army. And she starved to death. Nobody was able to get to her. So, you know, in 1968, Hamilton Hall was occupied by over 150 students protesting South African apartheid. And this kind of police violence wasn't used against them. And they are remembered in history as heroes. So continuing the long-held tradition of university activism, this is what they were doing at Columbia. You've made your point. This is what we were doing at CUNY.
Thank you. Good for
and
you.
all the encampments that we see
Nadine,
popping
I've only
up,
got
not just in the U.S., but all 7 continents.
Nadine, I have to move
world.
on because I have 4 other guests, but I appreciate you joining me. Thank you very much. But joining me now is the independent presidential candidate Cornel West, who teaches at Columbia and joins some of the student protests. The Fox News contributor Kat Tim, former BLM supporter Javier De Russo of PragerU, who broke into a pro-Palestinian encampment at UCLA, and the Young Turks founder Cenk Uygur. Kat, I want to start with you because I know you've got a slight time constraint. So I want to start with you and just talk about one aspect of this, which is the whole issue of free speech in this debate. And we're going to get into the two sides part of it in a moment with the other guests. But from a free speech perspective, what is your take on what we're seeing here?
So I've been very open about this issue. I think there's been not quite enough focus on the free speech issue. I think that, for example, you could look at Texas Governor Abbott, who in 2019 was saying there has to be free speech on campuses. There has to be the First Amendment on campuses. Then on March 27th, he signed something that limits speech on campus, including constitutionally protected speech, including criticism of Israel's government. I think that what the Constitution says is very, very clear that even hate speech is free speech, right? So you can debate whether something is or is not hate speech. And the debate you just had with your last guest proves that there is some disagreement on that. And the main point is the government should not be the one deciding what is and is not. We have a spokesperson for the Indiana Police Department saying hate speech isn't free speech. Well, that just simply isn't true. And it's the whole idea of what it's always been, which is that you don't want the government to be in the position of deciding what speech is and is not allowed, because that is going to be dangerous for anyone, including Jewish students, right? I mean, there was no free speech, obviously, in Hitler's Germany, right? And saying that free speech, something is First Amendment protected free speech, is not that you don't have to say you agree with it. And you can totally bring up the fact that maybe it's been less consistent in terms of all of a sudden now a lot of these university presidents are super pro free speech when it comes to this, when they haven't been in the past. But to me, that's not going to cause me to be hypocritical on this issue. I'm a First Amendment absolutist. I was in 2019. I was before 2019, and I still am today.
What if you are chanting intifada, given the history of intifadas between...
Okay, guys, you see, he does the same thing every show. He finished the first show without a girl, and he's talking about intifada the whole show. Now he's going to start the same thing, but now he's going to get Colonel West and Cenk Uygur very angry, and they're going to call him a racist. They're going to call him out. This is the first time they're going to, because he does this every time. He brings pro-Palestinian debaters only to use them as a prop and just do his fucking talking points that he's been given by his Zionist handlers, and that's it. Every one of them has a Zionist handler. Okay, now let's listen. The fireworks are going to start soon.
Israel and Palestine, twice in the last 30 years. We know what intifadas have been there. They've been violent uprisings with many people dying. And what if you chant from the river to the sea, which Jewish people believe absolutely means the eradication of Israel? I'm just asking
the
Kat,
First Amendment.
I will come to everybody else, but Kat has to go. So I want to just get this free speech part of the debate out of the way. Kat.
The First Amendment is actually clear on that, where you have to have a very, very, very specific exception where that would not be allowed. So, for example, a peaceful protest where people are marching and saying from the river to the sea is constitutionally protected speech. An incident where you were targeting a specific Jewish student and chanting that at that student where a protest had become violent, then that maybe would not be. But it's very, very narrow, and it's supposed to be very, very narrow, where there has to be, it has to be directed and likely to produce imminent action, and also true threats. Those are the only exceptions, which are very, very narrow. And the law is clear on this.
But if you have people, and we've seen pictures of them inside and outside campus, who appear to be supporting Hamas rhetoric, who are wearing maybe insignia relating to Hamas or Hezbollah or whatever, if you're brazenly supporting organizations, groups of people that are deemed to be terrorists by large swathes of the world, does that cross the line?
This is utter nonsense, Piers. Can I just answer the question?
Okay, check. Yeah.
You got genocide taking place. You got IDF terrorism taking place. You can't say a mumbling word about 12 universities that's been leveled to the ground. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of professors have been killed. Students have been killed. You're a journalist.
Yes.
Have you talked about the 112?
No, you don't
who've
talk
been
about
killed,
that.
brother?
Yes,
No.
I have done.
You just
The
can't lie.
Intifada is very dangerous.
Actually,
So unfair.
Cornell, hang on. Cornell.
40,000 people are dead, 17,000 children are dead, and the most dangerous word in his show is the word intifada. Intifada, 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 intifada. I'm in a quandary. I don't know what the word intifada means. They got upset. Colonel West is a very, calm man. He's a Christian man, calm. I don't blame him if he got upset. He never mentions the dead Palestinians. All the time, even when I debate people on YouTube, they never want to acknowledge the mass murder of children, man. I can't believe that, man. It's unbelievable.
Cornell.
You're unfair.
Cornell.
And then you just start lying. You start lying, man. It's ridiculous.
Cornell,
man.
I'm not
It's
lying about
ridiculous.
anything.
You want to show, you want to make money,
You are.
you go on.
I
hang
agree
on.
with Cornell West completely. You're totally, utterly lying through your framing. The
Yeah,
framing of
if I
this
may-
is a total,
sorry,
complete
okay.
Shame of
lie.
yourself, man.
Look, I can't hear you both speak at the same time. Cornell, just to be clear, I have posted. Sorry, hang on.
Please.
Hang on. I have posted about the journalists who've died in Gaza, right? I have
Then
posted
say
about
something.
this.
Yeah,
I have
he tweeted.
highlighted
He
the deaths
tweeted.
of those journalists, right?
Put it in the framework.
Well, I'm going to.
No, you
I was
won't.
going to come to you about the framework.
No, you
No,
wasn't.
you're not.
All the vandalism about one hall, and you hardly can say a mumbling word about universities, libraries gone completely, schoolrooms gone completely. You see how truncated and narrow your framework is? You're just lying, man. You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Okay. When you say lying, what you're trying to imply that I don't care about the other stuff you've just
Yes,
mentioned.
that's
You don't
what
care,
I'm
no.
saying
That's
is
not a lie.
for you
That's
to
definitely right.
Well,
does not
okay.
have the same value as an Israeli life. That's
Okay.
what I'm saying.
Okay, let me bring.
You saw him in the show before. He mentioned Intifada. He mentioned it in 2010, 2001, but he never mentioned Gaza with the girl before, with the girl with the hijab. He just brought it in there as a prop. That's what he does. So today he's got this lady. I don't know what the fuck she's talking about. And he got that idiot, the black guy. He's a fucking idiot. He walks around with shirts, make Gaza Jewish again. He's a fucking piece of shit. He's just a prop. So every time he just brings like Muslims or Arabs or even American who are pro-Palestinian or pro-human rights. Think about Palestinian, just anti-genocide, okay? Anti-genocide people on. He just brings them in as a prop, and he get that diarrhea out of his mouth, intifada from the river, and he says those the flash words. Intifada is a bad word. River to the sea means genocide, but when Israel says it, it doesn't mean genocide. So the whole idea, he's a piece of shit. And they got upset,
And you're
Cenk.
racist.
Let me bring in
And
Cenk
you're
here.
racist.
Let me bring in.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, let me bring in Cenk.
That's exactly
Just to be clear, I haven't lied about anything, right? I haven't talked about what's
No, you
happened in
have.
Gaza yet because we haven't come to that part of the debate. But Cenk, I
Yeah,
don't believe
yeah.
you've always
Yeah,
seemed
yeah,
to me to be one of the more rational voices in this debate, prepared to accept what Hamas did was horrendous and so on. I don't believe that you think it's right that Jewish students should be intimidated and harassed on a
You
campus.
come right back to the thing again.
Can I just answer this for
We are
God's
debating
sake?
the protests,
brother.
okay?
Come on, brother.
Cenk.
Come on.
Those
man.
poor
I don't
Jewish
think it's right.
students.
They should be
So
subjected
I've
to
been-
intimidation.
Okay, Piers.
Nobody
can I
thinks
finally
it's right.
answer?
Nobody thinks that's right. It's not
Cornell,
right. that
let
you have to
Cenk
have a
speak and I'll come back to you.
girl who has a
You saw what those Jewish students did in UCLA. Not the good guy, the Zionist scumbags. They threw fireworks. They beat up people with baseball bats, with hammers. They attacked them in the middle of the night for hours, and the police just didn't come in and rescue these people who were inside tents. We saw who the violent people are. We saw who the people trying to agitate a problem. You know, every time some guy would go with a fucking colorful yarmulke, yellow, white, and red, just to show he has a yarmulke. I want to go through here. I want to walk through here. No, you can walk from everybody no, I want to walk here. I'm Jewish and I'm not scared. Nobody said that you're Jewish or not, or you're scared. All we're saying is that this is an encampment, and for security reasons, we don't want you to go through walking for your security and for ours. Just walk around us. I mean, there's nothing here. No, I have it right here. You guys are acting so much, and you want to intimidate me because I'm a Jew and you hate me. No, we don't hate you. We don't. We just want you to shut the fuck up and walk from the other side. You see over there in that 3, 5, 10 tents? Those are all Jewish people and Jewish students who are in solidarity with us against the genocide. Do you see that? By the way, you have a beautiful yarmulke. I know you went and got all these colors, so it will look good and will be picked up on the cameras. Well, I want to go through. I want to go through. I want to go through, and I have every right, and I'm not scared. You have no reason to be scared. I mean, nobody's bothering you. Just go. I mean, we're just here. We have a bigger fish to fry. We're not interested in you. Back to the program.
Hall named after her because she and 15,000 other children have been killed by the IDF terrorists that you don't even call terrorists, but you can call the students terrorists. That's not any double standards, man. That's just outright mendacity, hiding criminality on your show, and
that's right. Use every word.
Concerned about the truth.
Well, you just said I called them terrorists. I haven't called them terrorists. That, ironically, is a lie. Cenk, I want to bring you in. You're getting very angry about this too. Just to be clear, I am expressing an opinion that what has happened at Columbia has crossed a line. And that if I'm a Jewish student there, I think it's completely outrageous. I'm being intimidated and harassed for the actions of the Israel government thousands of miles away. That doesn't mean I don't have very strong views about what's happening in Gaza, because you know that I do. So where is my lie in all this?
Yeah, Piers, I've just listened to you for 20 minutes frame the issue in a purely 100% Israeli propaganda way. So if you say, hey, listen, Jewish students shouldn't be harassed or attacked, of course I agree. I've got
you
Jewish
agree with
family.
Me? So why have I lied?
Yeah, no. Stop interrupting.
Yeah.
But what you don't talk about is you say from the river to the sea is an unacceptable change. Did you mention to the audience in these last 20 minutes that Benjamin Netanyahu actually said it recently?
No.
Not only that, he's actually doing it. He's in the middle of wiping out the Palestinians from the river to the sea. That is the grotesque violence. He has slaughtered 25,000 women and children. They were all innocent. So when Hamas kills 860 innocent Israeli civilians, I call them out and I say that is terrible. But when Israel slaughters 25,000 women and children, we're saying, oh, I don't like a pro-Palestinian chant. A chant? That's what we're concerned about. And now you turn to the violence that has happened on college campuses. There is one case of overwhelming violence, and that happened last night at UCLA. And it was pro-Israeli protesters that violently attacked the peace protesters that didn't do anything. They attacked an old lady and said, oh yeah, good luck trying to defend yourself, old lady. These are vicious, vigilante thugs. And they have done more violence than all of the peace protesters in the country combined. Where are the arrests? Where's the outrage? Where's the indignation? You pretend that you care about protecting students, but you only care about protecting one side, whereas the other side is assaulted.
No, I don't actually. Because
debased and humiliated.
Okay, let me respond.
And all you want to do is cancel their speech. You're part of cancel culture and admit it right now.
Can I
You're
respond?
talking about protesting people.
Can I respond?
Americans.
Can I respond?
Americans.
By the way,
okay, this is not the United States of Israel.
Fine.
America.
All right, you made your point.
To protest a foreign government.
Okay, let me respond.
5 years ago, you would never heard somebody say it out on TV or on the internet. Everybody has changed. The new generation is not with that fucking Zionist bullshit. They don't believe it no more. Alhamdulillah, thank God that the Zionists were exposed after October 7th. I mean, that tragedy brought in a bigger tragedy but it created a new revolution throughout the world. Students from all over the world, people, demonstrations. Matter of fact, there are more demonstrations in school encampments there are in the Arab or Muslim world. So what happened is, like TikTok and social media has exposed the Zionist gatekeepers to what's that called, to legacy media or to corporate media, have no control to all the doors. YouTube. I used to watch fucking MSNBC like a fucking idiot. For 10 years, I've been watching them every night. I'm like this. Okay, racial matter. Yeah, the Russians, yeah. And then when I saw how they lied when it came to the Palestinians, or when it came to even Donald Trump. I don't like Donald Trump, but I don't like the way they treat him every night. It's like, oh, Donald Trump did this, Donald Trump did. I don't want to hear that every night. Who gives a fuck what Donald Trump said? You know, he's not the president yet. You're helping him become president. Anyway, that's why when I discovered that legacy media is nothing but robots owned by people who own the companies, and they have only one view. That's it.
Just to be
You've
clear.
lost the right wing.
Just
you've
to be
lost
clear.
the left wing. You've lost America. America's not going to stand here
Fine.
and let Israel
You can keep
dictate
shouting, or we can
who's
have a
allowed
debate.
to speak and who's going to be arrested.
All right, you can keep
I
shouting.
gave you 20 minutes to do propaganda,
Okay,
Piers. Go ahead now.
It's not propaganda. I have many views about all of this. We're talking specifically about the protests at Colombia, which I think you've crossed a line. By the way, you talk about cancel culture. I'm entitled to my view without you and Dr. West screaming liar, genocide supporter, and all this other bullshit.
Okay, you condemn the UCLA pro-Israel thugs.
Let me make it clear.
You condemn them. I'm doing the same thing you are.
Wait a minute.
Do you condemn them?
Wait a
or
minute.
Are you pro-violence?
Can I answer the question? If this was Jewish students that were breaking into this building violently.
No, you don't have to go with a hypothetical.
No, sorry, I am going to go with the hypothetical because you're trying to make out that somehow I'm only doing this because I'm pro-Israel's government. I'm not pro-Israel's government. What I am pro is the safety of Jewish students being protected because they are not responsible for the actions of an Israel government thousands of miles away. They're entitled, having paid $400,000 for their education.
But you say no, you don't want to protect the peace
I
protesters.
don't think mob rules should be allowed to go on. So when you talk about this is a private university campus, they are entitled to not have their buildings desecrated in this manner, and they are entitled eventually to have the police remove them.
Be honest. When they were doing it in a public space, everybody in media, in American media, said, "How dare they do it in a public space? They do it in a private place." You go, "How dare they do it in a private place?"
You shouldn't be breaking into buildings full stop.
You know what? When Martin Luther King in Selma, Alabama, crossed the Edmund Pettus Bridge. You know what they said? How dare they interrupt the bridge? How dare they go in a public place? How dare those protesters? Civil rights leaders should know their role, should know their place, boy. That's what people like everyone in American media is saying right now to the people in favor of not slaughtering any more Palestinians.
Yeah, I think
you guys sound exactly like Bull Connor.
Okay, Kat, I know you have to go. I just want to bring you back in just briefly. Look, this is an incredibly, as you can tell, this is a very incendiary debate and passions run very high.
No, it's not, because you asked the dumb questions,
you've just
man.
been listening to?
No, it's not.
Giving you any more clarity about how we resolve this situation? Because presumably these protests are not going to go away. They may get bigger in number. They may affect more universities. This is a bad situation getting progressively quickly worse. What do we do about this?
Right. Again, going back to what I was saying before, I think that the law on these things is clear. I think that we want to be careful to not give up any of our rights as Americans in response to things that we see.
She's
There was
right.
also a bipartisan legislation proposed about having anti-Semitism monitors on campus.
You see, I like this lady. I don't know who she is. I never seen her in my whole life, but she's making sense. She's like, I mean, we still have freedom of speech in this country. I mean, we can't be just telling lies for the sake of lies. We cannot just protect a certain class of people and throw the First Amendment under the fucking rug because it's guys, who are a certain class of people.
I mean, what could go wrong there, right? And yeah. I've been open as a First Amendment absolutist, and I've had people send me videos of things like smash windows. Well, is this free speech, Kat? Obviously not, and I'm not saying that it is. I think that the robust debate surrounding this proves all the more reason why there are strong disagreements on what counts as what and what means this or what means that we should not have the government be in the position to decide ever what you can and cannot say, because any of these rules that some people are pushing for that would, some of the slogans that the Palestinian protesters are chanting to silence any of that could then, based on what else someone else thinks, could be used to, say, prevent an IDF soldier from coming to campus to speak. So I think that there are two separate things that we need to keep: how you feel about the speech personally, how you feel about the issue personally, and then how you feel about the government involvement in it. Those are two completely separate things, and it's not the same to be pro-First Amendment and anti-Semitic.
You make some great points. Kat, we've got to let you go. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. I want to bring in Javier DeRusso. You've been waiting patiently. You posted on X yesterday, breaking inside the UCLA anti-Israel encampment. Journalist Cam Higbee and I snuck into the ongoing encampment to see what was going on. Cam was caught after asking too many common sense questions and physically removed by the protesters. We have a bit of footage of that, I think.
About the same wristbands as the anti-Semites so that we could sneak into their camp and woo chow the ghetto. First of all, they had gender-neutral buckets to urinate and poop in. The whole place smelled like musty terrorists and shit. But the fact that they were forcing out conversation and journalists makes it clear.
For a man complaining that people are shitting in a bucket and you take it in the ass every day, you smell shit every day, man. It's unbelievable, man. The world is crazy. I mean, you're taking another man's shit up he's shafting your shit, man. Okay?
Clear that they don't have the answers to explain why they're there. And I was overhearing the most racist conversations about white people just in general. These people are literally BLM rebranded and more extreme.
Look, that's pretty inflammatory stuff, but you're here now. Do you think what you did last night was the right thing to do?
Absolutely. And first of all, thank you for having me, Piers. It was the right thing to do. I'm somebody, I hate propaganda from either side. I hate being told what I'm supposed to believe. So I like to go in and see for myself. So I snuck into the camp. It was very easy. I just put on a tacky outfit and went and bought the same wristbands from Staples. And I saw the conditions that were back there. I saw the sanitation hazards of them all using the same bucket to poop in. And I I overheard the conversations that they were having in there. It was full of hate speech. It was full of just calling for the bloodshed of Zionists. It was them being angry, and it ultimately started to get violent once my friend Cam Higbee's cover was blown. Once they realized, as they were describing him as a white Republican, they immediately knew that they had to kick him out, and they locked arms. They were shoving him up the stairs and then back down the stairs to get him out of the encampment. And it just goes to show how aggressive these college students are getting. I'm all for free speech. I'm all for freedom of expression, but that is limited once you start, one, prohibiting these students who pay a lot of money to.
So this guy has an issue with people taking his shit and this and this, The reason I'm very harsh on this guy, because he's a piece of shit. He hates black people. He's one of those grifters who want to show, black people are always complaining. And then he's walking around with a t-shirt that, like my see what mine says Brooklyn, a big sign. It says, "Make Gaza Jewish again." Now, when you say that, and that means you have no fucking feeling for the dead people and the people who live there, like they don't exist, like they're not human beings. You understand what I'm saying? This is I have a problem with people like that. This is the kind of people he's complaining about shit and he's taking it up the ass, and I'm sure he's smelling shit every time, and all of a sudden, you understand? Excuse my language,
Go to these college campuses to go to class, as well as you start becoming violent towards journalists and people who are just there trying to get an inside story on what's actually happening on these universities.
You're not a journalist.
To pay for.
Dr. West, coming back to you, Donald Trump got horrendous criticism for cracking down on the BLM protests in 2020. Is Biden not just doing the same here? And is there a double standard in the way that people are looking at these two different situations?
Well, number one, anytime you have massive military occupation of a community, that's what BLS was about. That's what Black Lives Matter was about, that's a 400-year affair. I don't know whether the brother would want to do that in the 1960s to see who was using the urine with King and Malcolm and Fannie Lou Hamer and others. But there were other issues they were zeroing in on. It's called American terrorism. It's called American Jim Crow, or American police murdering other young people of different colors, disproportionately chocolate, right? But when you have massive military occupation, that is a massive breakdown of a community. If you can't have a leadership of a university that can have a dialogue about three claims, we want transparency about your investments. We don't want you to invest in genocide, occupation, and ethnic cleansing. And we want amnesty. You can have a dialogue. At Brown, they said they're going to have a dialogue. They're going to have a vote. But no, not Columbia and the others. They've become such a corporation. They're tied to their donors. They're tied to their money masters. They're tied to their benefactors. They don't give a damn about what the students think. The students are just cannon fodder for their reputation, who are highly talented, work very hard, but have hardly any voice. And when you don't have a voice and you move in a nonviolent way, and Brother Piers, you should know the two first intifadas were nonviolent. They shot them down like dogs. That's why Hamas didn't appear until 1988, and you had the vicious occupation in 1948. If they had shot Martin Luther King Jr. down and Rosa Parks down and so forth, there's no doubt that Black folk would have responded. That's why we, the Black people, haven't created a Black version of the Ku Klux Klan, because we had leaders like Martin and leaders like Fannie Lou. You shoot them down like a dog, it's going to be a very different situation.
Okay.
And that's what we're up
Okay,
to.
but let me ask you a question then.
Students are going to have faults and
Okay, but let me ask you a question. My question for you.
But we're talking about the main issue of genocide. This ain't no game. This ain't no.
No, it's not a game. It's not a game.
People are dying, though, man.
I understand, Dr.
Journalists are dying.
Listen,
Universities are
Cornell,
completely left.
You must let me respond. You teach at Columbia, and you join these protests.
At Union Theological Seminary across the street. I've been in the camps. I didn't see anything that the other brothers saw. But, if he makes his judgment, he makes his judgment.
But given that there has been clear intimidation and harassment of Jewish students, it's been broadcast. We've seen the videos of it. You cannot be happy as a professor.
He's still fucking hanging on the fucking harassing Jewish students. This motherfucker's still hanging on that fucking. These people are convinced they must work for their lords in mass media. Their lords are the ADL, Aipac, all these organizations. Piers knows that right now he's on YouTube. Like he's like me on YouTube, but he's well known. He's always still hoping that one day he'll be back on TV. He used to be on CNN. He used to be on all these channels. So he still has that slither of hope, that little slither of hope that one day he's going to get a job. So he has to continue pimping that fucking lie that it was never about Jewish students. They just conflated it to hijack the message of the students why they're protesting. So instead of people saying, why are these people protesting against what? They're like, oh, it's all about antisemitism. They hate Jewish students. Why they beat up? He said they kidnap people. This motherfucker is making up shit as he goes along. I'm telling you, man. In the United States, what we have here is fucking crazy, man. When you see the media lie right in front of you, right in front of your eyes. I'm in New York City. I live right there. I live in Brooklyn, New York, and I know what's going on. And when I put on MSNBC and I hear a different story, I am disheartened. That they are lying to me. Why are you lying to me? I mean, don't I deserve better? Don't your viewers deserve better? Like this fucking idiot, all he's been doing since we started is intifada, the word is bad, from the river to the sea, and Jewish students were being harassed. How do you harass Jewish students if you sit in one place? If your car is parked and everybody passes by and keeps on scratching it, do you blame the parked car or the moving car? We gonna put that shit in simple terms right here. I'm a fucking genius once in a while. You understand? You understand? So how the hell they harassing Jewish students if they sit in one spot? They're not moving, these students.
There that Jewish students are being harassed and intimidated because people are critical of what the Israel government's doing thousands of miles away.
They're not talking to them.
Of course. That goes without saying. I try to be a decent person in my life.
So you agree with me? After that diatribe, you agree with me?
All you want to talk about is protection of Jews.
It's not all I want to talk about, Cornell. But that is actually what this debate is about.
Organizations that are banded back in October. Did you say a word about that? When you got massive children at universities and hospitals completely leveled, and you have something on your Twitter rather than make that part of the framing of the issue, then in fact you become an extension of propaganda. And that's why I call you a racist, because it means then that a Palestinian...
How dare you? Honestly. I'm sorry.
How dare you?
I'm sorry, but how dare you?
You wouldn't frame it in that way, my brother. You would not frame it in that way.
I'm sorry, but you how dare you call me a racist? What you don't know is, before I did this debate, I did a long interview with one of the IDF spokesmen in which I went after him about their planned invasion of Rafah.
Yeah, you went after him. Shut the fuck
up. So don't call me a racist. And don't assume
Biden believes the Palestinian life has the same value as Israeli life?
Yes, I do.
Absolutely.
I'm going to tell you, he's not a racist. He's a piece of shit. He's just a dick-licking sucker. That's what it is. He's kissing ass. Like I told you, these people have hopes to get back on TV. They want to go back on CNN, on Fox. They're still holding on to that hope. And the gatekeepers are Jews. Jewish Americans control a lot of the media. Now, you could say bad or good about it, but there's a lot of fucking biases. Imagine when you go to watch CNN and they're having an interview with a family that has a hostage, but they don't have an interview with the Palestinian families that have 10,000 hostages. There are 10,000 political prisoners and Israeli administrative prisoners in Israel. These are men, women, and children who they were not on trial. They don't know what crimes they committed. They're just in jail. That is hostages. And when you bring in the prime ministers, the ex-defense ministers of Israel to MSNBC, and why don't you bring the Palestinian ambassador to the United Nations? They speak fluent English because you don't want the American people to hear the other side. That's why all this nervousness, all this crazy, all this panic of Jewish anti-Semitism. We got to protect the Jews. Jews are being attacked in college campuses. It's going crazy. It's a panicking mob. It's a panicking because you've been lying for all these years and you've been getting away with it when it comes to Israel and the Palestinians. Those lies don't work no more. Remember when you lied about let's listen to this. I'll do that in my closing statement. Right?
Yes, I do.
Fiber in his when it comes to Palestinian predicament.
I absolutely believe
that's an answer to me?
I believe Palestinian lives matter just as much as any other lives, and I've always said that. Always.
It's not manifest in your framing, brother. It's not manifest in your framing. It's an abstract.
Don't throw around the word racist without any evidence to support the fact that I'm a racist.
Wait until I hear a lot of evidence, and I've been hearing the evidence, and I throw it around. It's not throwing around. It's a reality.
Me saying it is wrong that Jewish students are being harassed is not racism, because I'm not also talking about universities being flattened in Gaza. I think the flattening of universities in Gaza is awful.
You see what he's doing? Me defending Jewish students, it doesn't mean I'm a racist. Now he wants to say that because he's defending Jewish students, they're all attacking for it. You see what he's doing? You see what these people do? He's trying to conflate the idea that because he's defending Jewish students from an incident that never happened, from the situation that never existed, they just made it up, a narrative. They did it for the media. He's saying, "Oh, because I'm protecting Jewish students, you are calling me a racist." So that means the Dr. Colonel West and Singular hate Jews. That's what he's trying to say. Dangerous motherfuckers, dangerous.
Tenuous.
All right, Jake, I'll bring you in.
No.
Please.
Okay. Look, Piers, you keep going back to the most obvious question in the world. Should Jewish students be protected from harassment or assault?
Yes.
Obviously.
So you both agree with me?
No.
So why does that make me a racist?
Let me finish. So that's the most obvious point in the world. And I already told you that I have Jewish family. I have a nephew who wears a Star of David on a college campus.
He made that
I
shit
will
up.
go and help the people that are escorting them to their classes, etc. That is not an issue. But what you just did was you spent now 20 to 30 minutes framing it like that is the biggest issue and everyone is saying, oh no, we should attack the Jewish students, when no one is saying that. In reality, hold on, in reality, vigilante thugs last night attacked the peace protesters at UCLA who had done nothing wrong. It was a violent attack. They beat them with sticks, they pepper sprayed them, and yet I asked you a simple question. You've got now 20 to 30 minutes of propaganda saying, oh, the Palestinian protesters, the peace protesters, they hate the Jews, they're anti-Semites, all the Jews are in danger, etc. And I'm saying, of course, let's protect them. And then you make it seem like that's the 98% of the issue, when in reality, the only protesters that have been massively violent are the pro-Israel protesters. And to this second, not only did you mention it for about 2.5 seconds
I even
out of
have
20
a video
minutes,
on my
but
Twitter.
you still haven't condemned them.
Shut up.
You condemn them, Piers, the violent thugs.
I deliberately
pro-Israel
held off writing or commenting about what was going on at Columbia for quite a few days, and I will do the same about what happened at UCLA until I've actually established Well, hang on. Sorry, it happened overnight, and I will wait and see the facts, and when I get the facts, I will pass judgment without.
So, the obvious, he wants to wait a couple of days to investigate. The obvious. They attack on students, they threw fireworks, they beat them up with sticks and baseball bats, they're on camera. I mean, why you need 3 days? And the lie about Jewish student being harassed, kidnapped, he's able to talk about it every day. We are living in a time of backwardness. I mean, it's so scary, the media, how they lie. It's unbelievable, man. Scary.
Fear or favor, and certainly without any racism. Now, you were there last night.
And Piers, hold on. On the racism charge? No, because everyone who defends Palestinians in this country, no matter what they say, like I'm a perfect example. I condemn Hamas. I want to protect the Jewish students. I want a beautiful pro-Palestine and Israel. I want 2 states. And we're called anti-Semites, including by your guests, 24/7. The minute someone calls you a racist back because Muslim lives don't matter, all of a sudden everybody catches feelings.
Yeah, except I haven't called.
Which only goes one way. It only goes one way, right?
No. I tell you what.
I've never called in this country.
I have never called you an anti-Semite. I've never called Dr. West an anti-Semite.
That's right, but almost every guest
I've never called either of you racist, and yet both of you have gone along with calling me a racist, even though I'm not. So yeah, if you're going to dish it out,
are you going to ignore the framing, Piers? Piers, are you going to ignore the framing? You know you framed it this way, and Piers, you're not alone.
You were booked, all of you. Just to be clear.
Hold on, Piers. Let me give you a little bit of credit.
Right, okay.
You are open to the Palestinian position 20% of the time.
Just to be clear.
That's why I come back on this show.
Just to be clear.
But the American media is filled with racist against Muslims. Right. American politicians are racist against Muslims, and they revel in it. Rivers of blood in Gaza. And American politicians and the American media say, not enough. Kill them more, Israel. Kill them more.
Yeah, just to be clear.
Who objects to the wide slaughter of those people is called an anti-Semite.
Just to be clear.
The American media is sick.
Just to be clear, you were all booked to take part in a debate specifically about the protests at Columbia. So when you're asking, why am I focusing on the protests?
You know what's so good about this? The guy in the middle, the idiot here, who's talking about people shouldn't. All he contributed to the fucking conversation is, oh, well, I went there and I was wearing a pink hat because I'm a gay fuck. And I'm not, I like girls, he pretends that he's straight. And there's nothing wrong with being gay, so just not to get canceled. There is something with, there's nothing wrong with it. So his whole contribution to the show is he saw people taking shit in buckets. The brother there, Dr. Khan, he said, I was there. I didn't see what the brother saw. I don't know. He probably went to the wrong place.
Columbia. That is why you were all booked for this segment and debate. So don't try and be disingenuous with viewers and make out that you were booked for any wider purpose, because you weren't. I wanted to debate all the issues around what's going on in Colombia. And what is interesting to me...
Let's talk about Colombia.
Let me finish.
Let's talk about Colombia.
Let me finish.
Those peace protesters are the same ones that
I'm sorry, you don't just keep talking on my show. I'm sorry.
Banished and propagandized against people like you.
Yeah, I'm not a propagandist. I'm not a racist or any of these things, right?
War is always great. Peace is always the bad guys.
Yeah.
It's absurd.
It is absurd.
Insanity.
Yeah. I agree with you about it being absurd.
Piers, do you get that we are vomiting your propaganda? We can't stand it anymore.
Yeah.
It isn't just about you. It's all of media, all of the politicians with their nonstop propaganda that the people in favor of peace, the people who want to protect innocent lives, are somehow pro-terrorists, are the bad guys, are the anti-Semites, are the racists, etc. We're sick of the overwhelming propaganda.
Yeah, I'm pretty sick of being called a racist by you guys, so we've all got a cross to bear. Let me bring...
I asked you whether the IDF were terrorists. Are the IDF a terrorist organization killing children?
Yes, God forbid!
I do not believe they're a terrorist organization, no.
Oh, come on! Of course they're terrorists.
No, they're at war. There's a big difference between being at war and being a terrorist.
No, you may think they are, Cornell, and you may think they are, Cenk. You've asked me a question. I do not think they are. Okay?
Based on what?
Do I think the IDF has very serious questions to answer about the way they are executing this war? Absolutely. Do we have international criminal courts? Do we have criminal courts and laws and rules to hold them to account? Absolutely. And do I want them to be held to account? Damn right I do, yeah. And do I think they should be invading Rafah? No, I do not.
It don't mean that much to you, man. Come on.
Oh, it does mean as much to me. Let me bring in Javier again.
No, they don't mean that much.
Javier, this debate has got very unpleasant for reasons that are slightly lost on me, given what the debate was supposed to... Cornell, let Javier speak, okay? Javier, you were there...
Javier's been very patient.
Javier, you were there last night, and it's been pictured by Cenk as it was simply a bunch of very violent pro-Israel...
All right, let's see what Javier is going to say.
Protesters attacking
Speak up, Javier. Speak up.
Palestinian protesters. What was your experience there? What did you see?
A question of what kind of community and obligation Colombia feels it has.
Oh, shit.
Not enough. Kill them more, Israel. Kill
And chasing after a Jewish man trying to tase him because she didn't like what was on his sign. I also saw a man go and spit on a woman's dog simply because she was on the Zionist side. So no, it's not this situation.
Cornell, let Javier speak, okay?
All
Javier,
right.
you were there.
I pressed the wrong button. Let's listen. He said he was there. Let's see what he saw. This motherfucker's an idiot. Let's see. Ready?
Javier has been very patient.
Javier, you were there last night, and it's been pictured by Cenk as it was simply a bunch of very violent pro-Israel protesters attacking completely innocent pro-Palestinian protesters. What was your experience there? What did you see?
I mean, that's not what happened there, and it's not what's happened at any of these universities. I don't know why he's trying to portray it as if the pro-Palestinians are there peacefully. I also have a video on my Twitter of a pro-Palestinian chasing after a Jewish man trying to tase him because she didn't like what was on his sign. I also saw a man go and spit on a woman's dog simply because she was on the Zionist side. So no, it's not this situation where you have the pro-Palestinians who are just sitting there in their encampment and not doing anything. These people have continuously been violent. And I mean, even just looking over at what happened in Colombia, you're not busting into windows and breaking into buildings if you're there to be peaceful and to be protesting peacefully. That's not the case. So you are disingenuous, Cenk, if you're going to sit here and pretend that the pro-Palestinians are just being innocent. I don't understand how you could even see it in that way.
Brother,
are you going to sit here? There's videos online. Are you going to sit here and lie to everyone and say that the pro-Israel side didn't attack?
Please.
Well, you both spoke over each other, so we didn't hear what either person said.
Okay, all right. Let me just ask Javier, who's obviously lying about this. There's videos online of the pro-Israel side clearly attacking the pro-Palestinian side with sticks and fireworks and pepper spray. Are you going to sit here and lie on television and say to everyone that that didn't happen? Because go ahead. You lose all credibility. Go ahead, liar.
They were fighting back. They were fighting back. And don't call me a liar. I'm not here to sit here and name call and be childish like you at your big age. But
oh, yeah. You just called them
the pro-Palestinian side. There was a woman who was put in the hospital because she was hit in the head.
Innocent all of a sudden. Yeah, you just
they were being dirty. You don't sit there and poop in a gender-neutral bucket and sit there and act like you're not dirty. I call it the health department. It is filthy. The way that they're behaving is filthy. I don't hate Muslims, but I do hate Muslim extremism. I have a lot of fundamental issues with the Muslim extremism that's going on in the world. If the only way that you can get your point across is going and raping and beheading.
See, the problem I have with this person is sometimes, you know, we live in an age, you see, I'm a loser. I have this channel. I don't make no money. YouTube says that I got somebody who's fucking around with the views, you know, and I don't really care no more because I'm broke as fuck. But the problem is some people could just take a cause that doesn't make sense. Like he's an African American. He lives in America. He's a gay man who pretends he's not gay. And his whole issue is, in order to score points on social media, on Twitter, is to talk Islamophobia, be anti-Palestine, anti-Muslim, or Muslim extremism. What's extremism? You understand? Look at his eyes, that piece of shit. So they take this thing and they work with it, they grind, and they make some money out of it. You know, I could do the same thing. I could just get in contact with one of these Hespera, these Jewish organizations that pay money. Say, listen, man, I need some money here. You know, those Palestinians are crazy, man. You know, I don't like them, but I need an incentive. You know, I have expenses. I'm not gonna ask for money. You know, I pay $2,000 for the studio. My equipment costs about $10,000. They give me some money. I get in there and I lie and sell my soul, and I make money on that. You see people like Candace Owens and other one, Ben Shapiro. These are all fucking grifters, man. They're all Destiny is another grifter. All of a sudden, Destiny, the cockhole, is he's an expert on the Middle East. All of a sudden, this is the whole idea. So, you know, good.
People, then you're probably a terrorist and you're probably an extremist. I do have an issue with that. I do have an issue with the fact that you show an ankle and you're killed in some of these nations. Oh, no, I'm racist. I'm not racist. I don't have any issue with Muslims in general. I didn't say, did I not just say extremist? I just said extremist, but you chose to hear what you wanted to hear.
It is
putting shit into a bucket. I wasn't even just talking about the.
All right, he keeps on talking about people shit in the bucket. I have one more video. Let me show you this idiot here. Hold on. They're all idiots, okay? Okay, this is Dana Bash. Dana Bash works on CNN. She's from a rich family. She's a Zionist, and she's pro-Israel because before this, she was trying to pass that rape shit every day. She'd write about it, about the raping, a mass rape of 1,000 women, whatever it was. Now, Dana Bash is a failure at everything she does. She doesn't have a show. Once in a while, Inside Politics, that's her ex-husband's show. You know, they let her just guest co-host. Now she's starting to be more pro-Israel, more pro-Zionist. She's trying to get more time on TV. Now, here's that opportunity. Let's see how she's going to use it, right?
Welcome to Inside Politics. I'm Dana Bash.
Okay.
We start with destruction, violence, and hate on college campuses across the country.
And what did she show? She shows people getting beat up by the police. You saw how she started? Hold on. Hold on.
Welcome to Inside Politics. I'm Dana Bash. We start with destruction, violence, and hate on college campuses.
Destruction, violence, and hate. And she goes, who's getting beat up? The students. The only destruction of violence and hate is against the students. These are all police officers beating up these kids. You see how fucking ignorant she is and how dumb corporate media has become. Yeah, let her lie more. I mean, it's ridiculous.
This was the scene just a short while ago at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Police clashing with protesters. 12 people were arrested. Hours earlier, protests rocked the University of Arizona, where campus police used chemical irritant munitions to remove protesters. Around the same time at UCLA, pro-Israel and pro-Palestinian groups were attacking each other, hurling all kinds of objects, a wood pallet.
Yeah, but they're not equal. What happened in UCLA, you had the students, they were sleeping inside their tents, and the agitators came from a different area to purposely attack these people. So you cannot put them as equals. And every time everything is quiet, as soon as the police come, violence starts because they start attacking these students. And the reason all this shit is happening because Netanyahu said, yo, what are you guys doing here? I'm the president of the United States. Me, Netanyahu, not that dumbass Biden. It's me. Okay. Good.
Fireworks, parking cones, even a scooter. And before that, the NYPD was able to clear Columbia University after protesters barricaded themselves inside a campus building. 300 people were arrested at Columbia and City College of New York. But it is unclear how many were actually students. New York City Mayor Eric Adams warned this morning that professional outside agitators are getting involved.
There is a movement to radicalize young people, and I'm not going to wait until it's done and all of a sudden acknowledge the existence of it. This is a global problem that young people are being influenced by those who are professionals at radicalizing our children, and I'm not going to allow that to happen as the mayor of the city of New York.
Okay, first of all, these are not 10-year-old kids. These are adults who are they're studying to be doctors, engineers, lawyers, journalism. These are not some dumb, oh, we're gonna trick you. He's making this. He's saying by beating them up, we're actually protecting you. We're going to have to beat you up and arrest you because it's good for you. Because we're trying to defend you from outside influence because you are children. What a fucking idiot.
Many of these protests started peacefully with legitimate questions about the war. But in many cases, they lost the plot. They're calling for a ceasefire. Well, there was a ceasefire on October 6th, the day before Hamas terrorists.
I cannot tell you how this is the biggest lie this fucking idiot just said. This is the biggest lie. She's lying to us, and we know better. There was no ceasefire. A week before that, the Israeli Air Force killed like 200 people in the West Bank. Almost 300 people have been killed in the last 6 months. 46 children. What ceasefire are you talking about? There haven't been a ceasefire in 56 years. But you'll stand there because you're a Zionist fucking hoe and say whatever you want.
Brutally murdered more than 1,000 people inside Israel and took hundreds more as hostages. This hour, I'll speak to an American-Israeli family whose son is still held captive by Hamas since that horrifying day that brought us to this moment. You don't hear the pro-Palestinian protesters talking about that. We will. Now, protesting the way the Israeli government, the Israeli prime minister is prosecuting the retaliatory war against Hamas is one thing. Making Jewish students feel unsafe at their own schools is unacceptable, and it is happening way too much.
I'm going to tell you why. It's a lie. They're using this narrative in order to, when you get an umbrella if it's raining and you're trying not to get wet. These people are fighting. They're losing this war. They're trying to regain the plot because they lost it. Mass media doesn't matter. Whatever she's saying, she's talking out of her ass. When I watch her, I'm like, what the fuck is she talking about? Now you see? Wait, hold on. Look at this big lie. Look.
Right now.
I'm a UCLA student. I deserve to go here. We pay tuition. This is our school. And they're not letting me walk in. My class is over there. I want to use that entrance.
Okay.
Why can't they go? Will you let me go in? This could.
You saw he said, because I'm Jewish and I have my friends and I want to use that entrance. He wants to walk right through these people who are on the tents. He could go around them and go. There's like 10 different entrances. It has not, but he wants to create a moment. The Jews in the United States, not the Jews, the Zionists, they're trying, I'm afraid they're going to do like a false flag. I swear to God, they're going to do it. They're capable of anything, believe me. They have a history of bombing Jewish communities in Egypt and Iraq just to scare Jews to go to Israel. So they are trying to get this moment to show a Jewish student being attacked or a Jewish individual, and it's not happening. The people who are protesting, they already know the do's and do nots. You don't attack, you don't do anything. So what the students are telling them, listen, you could use another inches, but we don't want you to walk through our encampments. It's dangerous for you, and it's dangerous for us. That's all it is. But this is considered bad.
Be over in a second. Just let me and my friends go in.
Him and his friends.
Again, what you just saw is 2024 in Los Angeles, harkening back to the 1930s in Europe, and I do not say that lightly.
And she's comparing it because the student, you know what? Fuck this shit with this Hitler motherfucker, okay? Fuck Hitler, okay? Fuck him. We have nothing to do with that motherfucker. You deal with that motherfucker. The Palestinians have nothing to do with that shit that happened in Europe, okay? I know I'm going to lose my channel, man. She's comparing a student who's not allowed to go to an entrance to the 1930s in Germany. These people they're so dumb and they're so stupid at lying. It's almost fucking ridiculous.
The fear among Jews in this country is palpable right now.
Yeah. Oh, the Jews are afraid. They're scared. The Jews are living their life. They're not in danger. The Jews are living there. My neighbors are Jews. Well, the kids are playing outside. We have no issue with each other. We love each other. This is me. Let me, You understand? It's just crazy, man. All right, I'm going to show you just one more video. Let me see. I'm going to show you one more video before I go. Okay, this is Rising.
The Biden White House is considering welcoming some Palestinians.
Okay. They're saying that they want, I don't know if it's true, maybe it is, because they're building that port. They're trying to get Palestinians to those ports and get rid of them, maybe. But what she's saying is she's against Palestinians as refugees. As a matter of fact, nobody wants Palestinians to leave their city, because if they leave, they're not going to go back. That's the whole objective of genocide and ethnic cleansing. But I want to show you her thinking and how dumb she is and how racist she is.
Palestinians who are fleeing the war-torn Gaza Strip as refugees in the United States.
Okay.
According to federal government documents, it is shown that in the past few weeks, U.S. officials have discussed options to relocate Palestinians from Gaza who have immediate family members that are American citizens or permanent residents. The Gazans who pass certain eligibility, medical, and security tests would qualify to fly to the U.S. as refugees.
In other news, reporting directly from Hamas yesterday, said that Hamas is sending a delegation to Egypt to continue ceasefire talks, a sign that a deal could be closer to end the war in Gaza and return the Israeli hostages. In Tel Aviv on Thursday, family members of hostages and their supporters protested in front of the nation's military headquarters while the war cabinet convened. The protesters, using loudspeakers, counted to 209, the number of days that have passed since the hostages were seized. Israeli leader Benjamin Netanyahu has said in the past the IDF will go into Rafah and won't stop its war until Hamas is eradicated. Meanwhile, Turkey halted all trade with Israel yesterday. Turkey's trade ministry posted on social media, Turkey will strictly and decisively implement these new measures until the Israeli government allows an uninterrupted and sufficient flow of humanitarian aid to Gaza. So what comes next?
You know what's so fucking lying about Turkey? All the oil that goes to Israel goes from Turkey. All you have to do is just shut off the pipe and they'll fucking stop to death.
For Israel and Gaza, I think, we're at the point where there needs to be a mutual exchange of hostages among Palestine and among Israel. But Netanyahu has indicated time and again that he would not be happy with a Palestinian state post-war. So this goal of eradicating Hamas has been in the past identical with his goal of eradicating Palestine. And that's something that the United States has said they do not support. And I think taking in refugees from Gaza isn't an ideal solution for Palestinians either. They want to be on their own land, they want to be home. So it seems that although ceasefire talks will be happening in Egypt, there's not a clear path that makes Israel or Palestinians happy.
Yeah, I wonder, does Hamas feel the same way about Israel, that they would not want an Israel state to exist after the war?
She's fucking. What does that has to do with the price in China? Israel is a nuclear power. What kind of question is that? Do you see these people who defend the Zionists? They always come with dumb shit. Oh, does Israel has the right to exist after the war? I don't know. Maybe it's going to disappear. Maybe they're going to give all their nuclear weapons to Hamas and leave. What they're going to do, you stupid idiot? I mean, these people are dumb.
I wouldn't know. I think many people living in Palestine are not happy with Israel's occupation of Palestinian land. And, you know, there was a period in time where there were these peace talks going on, where there was a two-state solution that was brokered, and the prime minister of Israel that was in support of it was assassinated by the far right in Israel, and that's who's in power now. And so there was a point in time where it was the case that there was a two-state solution that was brokered through peace talks, but I think we're in a position today where it's going to take quite a bit of time and different lines drawn before we get there.
Yeah, there's also some new polling about American attitudes towards the war in Gaza, and it's pretty interesting because we've obviously talked a lot about the Israeli opposition in America and the protests on college campuses and some of the splits in the Democratic Party, specifically pushing Joe Biden to be more on the Palestinian side of things and to end funding from Israel. But when we look at polling from some of the biggest polling operations in the United States, we see that 4 out of 5 Americans still favor Israel over Hamas or Palestine, and most of them back Israel finishing the war by having its invasion into Rafah. And so I think we have to be careful sometimes about giving too much weight to these small...
All right, she didn't show us no proof. Okay, where did she get this information from? Where she pulled it out of her fucking ass? It's a lie. I never heard that. All of us, she's the 4 out of 5 American. Remember that commercial? 4 out of 5 doctors recommend Trident gum. That's the same fucking commercial. Where did you get this information from? Can you show us? I mean, it's just silly, man. It's just, I mean, ladies and gentlemen, people, if you're listening to this podcast, if you're supporting it, or you're just passing by, never believe what you hear or see. When you read like all over the place. Don't drink your water from the same well. Drink water from every neighborhood. What I mean by that, from every site, internet, newspapers, and start to gather your own thinking. You understand? I read Israeli papers. I read it on purpose because I know I'm going to come to a conclusion that is what I believe. Then I compare. It doesn't make no sense. Like the port they're building right now. The port they're building right now, that's going to be to evacuate Palestinians out of Gaza. They're going to start offering them money and to get rid of them. Okay, let's go back to this idiot. I'm going to finish with this later.
All are more vocal contingents in the United States, because we have to recognize as well that most Americans are still in favor of Israel continuing its offensive into Gaza. And so that's going to have an effect as well as to whether Biden continues to support the negotiations process right now and whether or not he would pull support from Israel if they decide to continue with its invasion into Rafah.
Yeah, I think we're at a point in time where so often the Biden administration is asked about Rafah, and they're just brushing it off as if it's no big deal. And as Israel continues to go into new territory, it's not just eradicating Hamas. They're taking the territory, they're leveling buildings, they're making it so that Palestine in Gaza is not a habitable place for Palestinians post-war. So even if they politically do agree and say, yes, there can be a Palestine post-war, they're actively preventing it with their military action. And so what needs to happen now is the Biden administration, if they're interested in peace whatsoever, It needs to be an immediate no into going into Rafah, into doing a ground campaign. It needs to be an immediate no into any further ground campaigns by the IDF. And they should restrict the military aid going to Palestine, which they haven't. They just passed this massive bipartisan bill where they're sending additional dollars to Israel at a point in time when it's an unpopular policy among the American public. And so really, I see the only way forward is for the United States to use their influence as Israel's number one ally, number one supporter of their military, to say absolutely not, no more. It's very clear that you're not being precise about eradicating Hamas, which is the goal you keep saying to the media. You need to actually take into consideration that Palestine has its right to self-determination as well, and that Israel is currently jeopardizing that. And we can put this in the context of history of what Israel's done in the past, but if we just deal with it for what's happening right now, it is the case that it's not a reasonable response, if it's framed as a response to the attack on October 7th, to make Gaza an unlivable place for all of the civilians who lived there before in the name of eradicating Hamas. And so I really think the Biden administration is making a huge mistake by not using their influence to prevent this ground invasion into Rafah.
Let's talk about this plan that they supposedly have to admit Palestinian refugees into the United States. I would oppose this on two major grounds.
Watch how dumb she is. Ladies and gentlemen, we are watching stupidity at its finest moment. Now let's listen together. Why she has 2 points. We don't want the Palestinians to leave, by the way, but she has 2 points why they should not come to the United States. Let's see what they are.
The first is that when we talk about refugees around the world, typically we would expect that the surrounding countries would be responsible for taking in those individuals.
Okay.
But none of the Arab states around Palestine want to take Palestinian refugees. That, of course, doesn't absolve them from the fact that they, being the surrounding areas, have a greater responsibility to take them than the United States.
Okay. She knows. Maybe she's an idiot, but whoever gave her to read whatever she's reading, she's probably just reading somebody. She's looking at the paper. See, the whole idea that what can these Arab countries take these Palestinians? What can they take them? The whole idea is we're trying to deprive Israel. They're trying to deprive Israel from succeeding in ethnically cleansing the Palestinians. Egypt could open the fucking gate and take all the. It's a big country, but the whole idea then we are rewarding bad behavior. Now. You see, I don't read anything because I'm an idiot. I can't read like her and stuff like that. But she's reading somebody. She doesn't know. They both don't know. You could tell they're just reading. Even the other girl, she's pro-Palestinian, but she's just reading what somebody wrote for her. She's not like a Brianna Gray, on the rise. She comes on regular days. I mean, okay, let's see. Look how stupid she's gonna get. More stupider.
But then we get into why exactly that is and why I think it would be problematic to bring in Palestinian refugees without really strict ideological screenings, which frankly the Department of Homeland Security does not really have in place right now. There's no good way to screen on ideological grounds for people coming into the U.S. There is one pollster in Palestine who is known as the Gallup of Palestine. He runs the Palestinian Center for Policy and Survey Research, and the latest poll that he did found that over 70% of Palestinians supported the October 7th massacre in Israel. The vast majority of them support Hamas. 98% of them view the U.S. very negatively, and the vast majority of them view.
Okay, let's say if you're giving Israel 2,000 pound bombs to throw at our neighborhoods. I'm 200 pounds, 205. That's 10 times my size. I mean, what are you going to say? Oh, we love Israel. We love the United. Of course, the Palestinians going to have a negative view on the United States. You're arming the people who are killing our children. I don't know. People are so out of touch. Sometimes I'm thinking maybe they don't think other people are human, like the third world, like Arab children and. I don't think they see them as human or have any value. She's like, oh, they have a bad view of the United. Of course. You give them bombs 24 hours a day. Planes are coming from the United States, a bridge from the United States to Israel of weapons every night and every day, 24 hours a day. What do you think they're going to say? Thank you? Oh, did I mess up? Oh, how about I didn't mess up? I did mess up. Hold on. Okay. Nope. Let me see. Hold on. I want you to hear this.
Yeah. There's back Israel finishing the war by having.
Okay.
And as Israel continues to go into new territory at a point in time when it's an unpopular Palestinians who lived there before in the name of eradicating Hamas.
We need to be really careful about that. We saw some really tragic stories happen when we started accepting.
Okay.
Who is known as the Gallup of Palestine. He runs the Palestinian Center for Policy and Survey Research. And the latest poll that he did found that over 70% of Palestinians supported the October 7th massacre in Israel. The vast majority of them support Hamas. 98% of them viewed the U.S. very negatively. And the vast majority of them viewed Hamas positively. There's also a lot of research into sexual violence against women in Palestine and the way that women are subjugated there. So I'm very...
Okay, this fucking ho right here. Forget about the first part. Is right. I mean, she's right. I mean, whatever it is, whatever this Gallup guy is, the sexual violence against women are you... You know what kind of society Palestinians are and Arabs? These people don't get it, especially Gaza. Gaza is under this religious. Hamas is a religious extremist organization. You know what they do to you? They throw them off the roof. So whoever wrote this for her is a fucking idiot, and for her, she's just reading it. Or she probably tried to wing it. She's saying that there are a lot of sexual violence in Palestine. I can't believe this. I mean, I gotta go pray, man. I just gotta let me finish.
Reticent to accept people from a country that, frankly, culturally, its values don't align with our own. I think we need to be really careful about that. We saw some really tragic stories happen when we started accepting Afghan refugees after the withdrawal from Afghanistan, where they were placed on military bases. And within a week or two, we started having reports of women being sexually assaulted. I
think this bitch is horny, man. Everything is sex, sex, sex. First of all, the Afghanistani are very religious. This sexual rape and harassment has no place in Arabia, trust me. Not because the law says so, because the family says so. The Arab terrain is tribalism. Do you think a tribe will let their women get raped or sexually harassed by another tribe, you fucking idiot? They will blow up the whole country. So she's just saying crazy stuff that don't make no sense. I mean, she could say maybe the extremists, maybe, just say, oh, they could become dangerous inside the United States, or could use violence against the country because of the war. I can't even burp. But for her to say there's sexual assault and rape in Arab, I mean, she is fucking ridiculous, man. She's stupid.
Children being abused because we did not properly screen the refugees who came.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I gotta write. I don't know who wrote this
from Afghanistan. While, by the way, we abandoned American citizens and people who had actually worked with the U.S. military during the Afghan war. So I don't want us to make that same mistake with the Palestinian refugee crisis that's surely to come, where we take in a bunch of people who are either not interested in assimilating into our culture, or just bring with them these practices that, frankly, don't comport with how we view humanity and how we treat people here.
Okay, I had a debate where we don't have any culture in the United States. There's cultures. Every minority have their own shit going. There is the only uniform culture we have is on holidays we do barbecues and we eat hot dogs and hamburgers. America has no culture. America has cultures, not just culture, cultures. America doesn't have value, it has values, because every minority have their own set of values inside the United States. And what are those values? Let's say the United States, what are we talking about? Let's say if I'm in Afghanistan, they say, well, they got gay rights. What? They got gay marriages. What? They believe that a man could be a woman. What? They believe that a woman could be a man. What? They could say a man could be, a woman can be, doesn't know where she is. What? You understand, you fucking idiot? You're the problem. You have no values.
Yeah, what practices are you worried about coming to the U.S. from the citizens of Gaza?
Thank you.
Sexual abuse and violence towards women primarily.
Okay, hold on. 700 to 800,000 women are either raped or sexually assaulted in the United States. And if you go on your computer and you check the sexual predator registration, people who did that, every zip code will have 10, 15 motherfuckers living near us who either abuse children, rape women, or things of that nature. Whoever wrote this piece for them is an idiot.
Among the Gazan civilians?
Yeah, among Palestinians. So the Palestinian Central Bureau of Statistics in 2006 found that 61.7% of married women experienced psychological abuse, 23% physical violence, and 11% sexual violence. Unfortunately, they don't track data on unmarried women because the practice is banned in Palestine. But that's the best available statistics we have. I mean, those are obviously stunningly high for a married relationship, 23%.
I don't know where she got all these statistics. I wish she would give us a source. Give us a source. Where did you get all these statistics from? Trust me, Arabia is different. Afghanistan, even other countries, they're very conservative. Good. Watch. I like what you
experiencing physical violence, 1 in 4. If they believe that is moral or acceptable due to whatever cultural or religious practices they have, then absolutely I don't want them in the United States.
In the United States, we have 1 in 3 women who are sexually assaulted and 1 in 9 men. And so when we compare the two cultures, we find that, unfortunately, what we're seeing in crimes against women, it's pretty common that we have women experiencing sexual violence in the West and in countries like Palestine and in the Middle East. So I really see this as, not that being a concern here. My concern here is that Palestinians want to live in their home. Gazans want to live in Gaza. And that's not being made an option, in part thanks to American weapons sold to the Israeli military used to level Gaza and make it uninhabitable. And so it's, again, another case of U.S. intervention, even if indirectly. I would argue it's direct if the weapons are being sold to Israel and used, but it's not American troops on the ground. So I think people would differ with me on that. In any case, we are responsible, even by Biden's standards, who said that they hold Iran responsible for what happened wise here, is for us to adjust this point. And so this
in America, because we do view it as morally wrong. Unfortunately, in some Islamic countries, they view it as justified because women are subjugated by a matter of religious course, and not to mention the fact that they view marriage differently, whereas the man actually owns the women. So in a lot of cases,
I don't know what the fuck this. Hold on. Let me bring this back. This is so fucking racist. I'm gonna have to do a whole piece on this shit. This bitch is stupid. Holy shit. Let me.
Cases, marital rape is actually not even considered a rape because women are supposed to be required to countries. They view it as justified because women are subjugated by a matter of religious course, and not to mention the fact that they view marriage differently, whereas the man actually owns the women. So in a lot of cases, marital rape is actually not even considered a rape because women are supposed to be required to sexually fulfill their husbands by whatever means necessary. So I do think there is a disconnect morally between our two cultures, but if they don't want to come to America and I don't want them to come, then it sounds like we agree and the problem is solved. We'll be back with more Rising after this.
Holy fucking shit. Holy fucking shit. This is the most racist piece of shit I just saw my whole life. Bitch, you don't own America, you fucking ho-ho. You know, I'm going to lose my channel, man. Let me get the hell out of here. This is crazy. Did you hear what I just hear? Now, I have to do a separate piece on this, man. All right, let me just do this here. All right, I got to go, man. I appreciate you. I got to go make prayer salah. You know, it's Maghrib. It's about, you know, I appreciate you. You know, I was sick for a couple of days. I don't know, man. When we're going to make money on this channel, maybe in another world, but alhamdulillah, everything is okay. I see ya. God bless you. God bless the United States and victory to Gaza. Gaza will live, inshallah.